Welcome to AI Book Highlights.
Hello?
Today we're venturing into, well, quite a unique perspective with Rudolf Steiner's Cosmic Memory.
Yes, it's a book that looks at humanity's ancient past and spiritual evolution through something he calls the Akasha Chronicle, a kind of spiritual record.
Right, and Steiner's goal wasn't just mystical speculation, was it? He aimed for a sort of spiritual science.
Exactly. He wanted to offer an understanding of human existence that connects with our deeper humanity, without being tied to rigid dogma.
And it covers a vast scope. We're talking Lemuria, Atlantis.
Uh-huh. And the development of consciousness itself, the interplay of spiritual forces, it's quite ambitious.
So our goal today is to pull out some key insights, things that maybe challenge how we usually think about history or even ourselves.
Absolutely. Let's see what we find.
Okay, let's jump in. Highlight number one takes us way, way back. The Lemurian Epoch. Steiner describes a consciousness that's just fundamentally different.
Yeah, it's not about memory and logical thought, not like we experience it. It's something else entirely.
He suggests Lemurians acted on their environment almost directly through their ideas, like the strength of their will.
That's the picture he paints. A kind of instinctive thought reading, maybe? An immediate connection with nature plants, animals, physical forces, without needing to, analyze it intellectually.
Their will and imagination were supposedly the dominant faculties.
Very much so. He even mentions their education was focused on hardening the will, enduring hardship, that sort of thing.
Which really makes you stop and think compared to our focus on intellect and, memorizing facts.
It does. It raises questions about capacities we might have lost or that have just changed form. What is consciousness if it can manifest so differently?
A sort of trade-off, perhaps? As intellect grew, maybe that direct willpower receded?
That seems to be implied. A different way of being in the world entirely.
Okay, fascinating stuff. Let's shift to highlight two. The Atlantean civilization. Located, according to Steiner, where the Atlantic Ocean is now.
Right. And again, a very different society, different cognitive strength.
The big thing for early Atlanteans, he says, was memory. Like an unbelievably powerful memory.
Yes, hyper-developed memory. But he notes they weren't strong on logical reasoning or math, not in our modern sense.
So their knowledge, their technology even, was built on this incredible recall.
Pretty much. They didn't learn abstract rules. They remembered specific examples vividly. Past experiences were their guide.
And there's that mention of manipulating life force, too. Not just remembering, but interacting with energy differently.
Uh-huh. It suggests a relationship with natural energies that's, well, hard for us to grasp, accustomed as we are to electricity and mechanics.
Plus a more communal social structure tied to nature.
Deeply rooted in that connection, yeah. It makes you wonder about societal evolution. Did we gain analytical power, but maybe lose some kind of collective intuition?
That memory-based versus intellect-based culture. It's a stark contrast. What are the implications,
Well, perhaps different cognitive strengths naturally foster different ways of organizing society, relating to each other and the environment. It's a compelling thought experiment.
Definitely. Okay, highlight three is, well, it's quite something. The division into sexes.
Ah, yes. Steiner talks about a very ancient period where humans weren't distinctly male or female as we understand it. They held both natures.
And this separation, this division, happened as the Earth itself became denser, more physical.
That's his timeline, yes. And the key point he makes is the consequence of this division for consciousness.
Which was?
He argues that once the soul wasn't primarily focused on physical self-procreation in that dual-natured way, energy was freed up.
Freed up to do what?
To turn inward.
Yeah.
To fuel the development of the thought and the physical organ associated with it, the brain.
So he literally says the price of thought was becoming single-sexed.
That's the phrase. It's a really unexpected link he draws between our physical evolution and our mental evolution.
It completely reframes biological development, doesn't it? Suggests a necessary connection between our physical form and how our minds work. Not just biology, but something deeper driving it.
Exactly. It challenges a purely material view, linking our physical state directly to the emergence of our higher cognitive functions. A spiritual dimension to our biology, if you will.
Okay, let's move to highlight four. This involves the idea of superhuman beings.
Right. Steiner posits that advanced spiritual beings played a guiding role in early human evolution.
He calls them beings of love and beings of wisdom.
Among other terms, yes. He suggests they influenced humanity's path, helping to, for example, regulate early sexual life and also stimulating the development of love and wisdom within humankind.
He even brings in Lucifer here, but maybe not in the purely negative sense we usually think of.
Correct. He sees Lucifer more as a catalyst, a bringer of light, specifically connected to stimulating independence and intellect, though with potential pitfalls, of course.
So this really pushes against a purely Darwinian view of evolution.
Absolutely. It suggests our development isn't just random mutation and survival, but involves guidance from conscious spiritual intelligences.
Which offers a totally different framework for understanding where morality, knowledge, even our sense of self might originate.
And importantly, Steiner presents this not as religious dogma, but as findings from his spiritual scientific investigation. It posits a history interwoven with spiritual reality.
A much larger cosmic context for our existence.
Precisely.
All right, our fifth and final highlight zooms out even further, looking at the transformation of human organs and consciousness over vast, vast timescales.
Yeah, this is where it gets really cosmic. Steiner suggests our physical organs aren't fixed, but are evolving, some becoming less crucial, others developing towards future functions.
He gives the example of speech organs potentially evolving into future organs of reproduction.
He does. It's a radical idea about the plasticity of the human form over immense epochs.
And he doesn't just talk about physical change, but consciousness itself evolving through stages.
Yes, he outlines these huge cosmic cycles. Saturn, Sun, Moon, Earth, each representing a major stage in the development of consciousness with different characteristics.
So our current Earth consciousness, our way of thinking and perceiving, is just one phase in a much, much longer journey.
Exactly. It's a specific state developed during this Earth phase, but it's not the beginning or the end. It implies continuous transformation.
This gives such a dynamic perspective. We're not a finished product, biologically or mentally.
Not at all. Our current state is temporary, a snapshot in a vast evolutionary arc with potentially profound changes still to come.
It extends evolution beyond just biology on Earth into something cosmic.
And suggests our potential, physically and consciously, is maybe far greater than we usually imagine, unfolding within this grand cosmic plan.
Wow. Okay, so after exploring these mind-bending ideas, how can we bring this back to, something practical for today? Let's talk takeaways.
Good idea. Takeaway number one could be about embracing a more holistic understanding.
Based on Steiner's science of the spirit idea, integrating different ways of knowing.
Exactly. It encourages you, the listener maybe, to look beyond just the purely material facts or purely faith-based beliefs. Could combining perspectives give a richer view?
Like, if you're facing a complex problem, maybe you've only looked at it logically. Could adding intuition or even just quiet reflection bring new insight?
Right. It's about acknowledging the limits of any single approach and seeing if integrating different ways of knowing opens things up.
That makes sense. What about a second takeaway?
Maybe reflecting on the evolution of our own capacities, thinking about how memory, instinct, logic have shifted over time, according to Steiner.
How could that help us?
Well, it might make you appreciate the specific strengths and maybe the weaknesses of how we think now. Understanding this history might change how you approach learning something new or solving a problem.
So if you struggle with, say, abstract logic, maybe recognizing its relatively recent development could be freeing. Or if memory isn't your strong suit, perhaps exploring visual or associative techniques, tapping into that older Atlantean style capacity.
Sort of. It's about understanding your own cognitive toolkit in a broader context, maybe leveraging different aspects more consciously.
Okay. And a third takeaway.
This one touches on the interconnectedness of physical and spiritual development that Steiner emphasizes.
The idea that our physical form, our consciousness, and spiritual influences are all linked.
Yes. And this might inspire you to consider the, less tangible aspects of your own growth, moving beyond just material goals or intellectual achievements.
How would someone do that?
It could be many things. Maybe paying more attention to intuition, gut feelings, exploring practices like mindfulness or meditation, or simply being open to the possibility that there's more to your development than just the physical body and the rational mind.
Cultivating an awareness of that potential deeper connection within yourself?
Exactly. A more holistic view of personal growth, acknowledging the interplay between body, mind, and maybe something more.
Well, this has certainly been an exploration. We hope this look into Rudolf Steiner's cosmic memory has given you some intriguing things to think about regarding human evolution and consciousness.
There's definitely a lot more in the book. He goes into much earlier cosmic times, the future of humanity.
Yeah.
It's incredibly detailed.
It really is a dense and thought-provoking read.
If these ideas have sparked your interest and you want to explore the Akasha Chronicle and Steiner's vision in more detail, we really do encourage you to check out the book itself.
Cosmic Memory by Rudolf Steiner. We've put a link to it in the description below for you.
It's quite a journey if you decide to take it on.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us today on AI Book Highlights.